The 19th of May, 2026, Tuesday morning. We are currently reading from the common Buddhist text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation is Maha Dr. Dhamma Kosachan. We are currently in chapter 7 on ethics from the perspective of the Mahayana tradition. We previously covered the Theravada tradition on ethics. And moving forward, we're also going to cover the Vajrayana tradition. We left off at the true Bodhisattva. And this passage outlines the wondrous wisdom and heroic, adaptable compassion of the true Bodhisattva. The perfection of wisdom, my friend, is the mother of the Bodhisattvas. Skills is in means is their father. The guides are born from these two. Their wife is the pleasure of the Dhamma, and loving kindness and compassion are their daughters. Truth and Dhamma are their sons, and their home is contemplation of the meaning of emptiness. There are victorious heroes who have destroyed their enemies. The defilements, that is, mental defilements, they have dared to attack the four maras and planted their banners on the seat of awakening, on Arihatship. They appear to chose to be reborn, but they are not born. They do not come into existence. They appear in all Buddha existence like rising suns. Having worshipped countless Buddhas, guides, which all kinds of offerings, they do not take themselves or the Buddhas as the foundation of grasping, upatana, that is. They purify all Buddha existence, just as they purify the actions of living beings. They have attained the existence of space, akasha, and have no concept of living beings. The skillful bodhisattvas can, in an instant, manifest the forms, sounds, and speech of living beings. They are awake to the actions of the illusions and intimate their actions. With perfect skills and means, they manifest all of their deeds. They make themselves appear to be old, ill, or dead. They live creating illusions to bring living beings to maturity. They manifest the burning of the earth when the world is consumed by the fire at the end of an eon. They demonstrate impermanence, anicca, to living beings who think in terms of permanence. In the shorter eons, afflicted by disease, famines, and swords, they come to the best of medicines, or become the best of medicines, by which living beings are liberated and become happy and healthy. In the shorter eons, affected by famine, they become food and drink. They teach the Dhamma to living beings who have been relieved of their hunger and thirst. In the shorter eons, affected by the use of swords, they meditate on loving kindness, metta, instruct countless beings in non-violence. In the midst of the great battles, they favor neither side. Greatly powerful bodhisattvas delight in bringing people together in harmony, in unison. In order to help living beings, they descend with full awareness into the hells which are inconceivable to those in a Buddha existence. They reveal themselves among all kinds of animals because they teach the Dhamma everywhere. They are called the guides. They manifest the gratification of sensual desires and meditation of their meditators. They confound the illusions, mara, and give them no way in. Just as the illusions of the lotus in the midst of the fire can be shown not to really exist, they show that both sensual desire and meditative concentration do not really exist, which are both substantial entities. With full awareness, they become prostitutes in order to draw men to them. They use lust to hook them, and when they have enticed them, they establish them in the understanding of the Buddha. They always become village headmen, caravan leaders, priests, prime ministers, or ministers in order to help living beings. They become inexhaustible treasures for living beings who are in poverty. They have given them gifts. They cause the awakening mind to arise in them. For living beings who are full of arrogant pride, they become great companions and set on the path of the supreme awakening, in which all pride is destroyed. They always remain in the presence of living beings who are tormented by fear. Having given them the gift of fearlessness, they bring to them the maturity of awakening. They become celibate sages who possess the 5 kinds of higher knowledge and spur living beings on their ethical discipline in holding fast to the joys of patient acceptance. The leaders regard living beings as spiritual teachers worthy of service. They become their slaves, their servants, and enter their discipleships. They use whatever means they have at their disposals that living beings might delight in the Dhamma. They have great mastery of skill and means, and manifest all kinds of actions. Their skill is limitless. Their sphere of activity is limitless. They possess limitless understanding and liberate a limitless number of living beings. It would not be easy even for the Buddhas to express all their good qualities. Even over the course of countless eons, of countless hundreds of eons, what intelligent person, having heard of the incomparable Dhamma, would not set out to attain awakening? Only inferior beings who have no concept of wisdom. This passage is cited in the Vimalakritri Nidesa Sutra, Chapter 7, Section 6. This is translated from Sanskrit. The vows and the precepts that a Bodhisattva takes. This passage focuses particularly on the vows to serving all living beings. What are these 10 great vows? The first is to worship all Buddhas. The second is to praise the names of the Tathagatas. The third is to make abundant offerings. The fourth is to confess all actions of performed in the past that holds one's back. The fifth is to rejoice in others' virtues. The sixth is to request the will of the Dhamma be set in motion. The seventh is to request the Buddha remain in the world. The eighth is to always follow the Buddha's teaching. The ninth is to always serve living beings. The 10th is to dedicate all good, pure actions to all living beings. Moreover, son of a good family, the vow to constantly serve living beings can be explained in this way. In the realm of phenomenon, throughout the 10 directions of space, there are many different kinds of living beings. I will be a good doctor for all those who are suffering from illness. I will show the right path to those who have lost their way. I will bring blazing light to those who in dark of the night or live in darkness. I will lead the poor to discover the hidden wealth. A Bodhisattva brings abundant benefits to all living beings equally in this way. Why is this? If a person serves living beings in any way he can, then he makes offerings to all the Buddhas. If he worships and honors them, then he also worships and honors the Tathagatas. If he brings happiness to living beings, then he brings happiness to all the Tathagatas. Why is this? It is because all Buddhas, all Tathagatas, take the mind of great compassion as their body. For the sake of living beings, they cultivate great compassion. Out of this great compassion arises the awakening mind. On the basis of this awakening mind, they attain perfect awakening. It is like a great tree, a king of trees, growing in the wilderness, in the sands of the desert. If its roots find water, its branches leaves, glorious fruit will flourish. The Bodhi tree, the king of trees, grown in the wilderness of birth and death, is like this. All living beings are its roots. All the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas are the glorious fruits. By helping living beings, by nourishing them with water of great compassion, one can attain the glorious fruit, which is the perfection of wisdom of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas. Why is this? It is all Bodhisattvas, living beings, by nourishing them with the water of great compassion. They will be able to attain unsurpassed perfect awakening. Awakening is thus dependent on living beings. If there were no living beings, no Bodhisattvas could attain unsurpassed perfect awakening. You should understand things in this way. Son of a good family, great compassion can be fully developed when one views all living beings with an impartial mind. With a mind of great compassion, one is able to serve all living beings, and thereby makes offerings to the Tathagatas. This is how a Bodhisattva should serve living beings. Even when the realm of space is exhausted, when the realm of living beings is exhausted, when the effects of the previous actions of karmas of living beings are exhausted, when the mental defilements of living beings are exhausted, my service would not be exhausted. I will think of them continuously with interruption. I will not grow weary in body, speech, mind, or activity. At that time, the great beings, Samantapatara, in order to emphasize the meaning of what he has said, address these words to the 10 directions of space. Pure in body, pure in speech, and pure in mind. I bow to all the lions amongst men of the 3 times, throughout all the worlds, in the 10 directions of space, omitting none. Through the great power of the vows, the Bodhisattva Samantapatara, I appear before all the Tathagatas. By manifesting as many bodies as those are atoms in the world, I bow to the many Buddhas as they are the atoms in the world. In every atom there is many Buddhas. There are atoms in the world, each surrounded by the hosts of the Bodhisattvas. Every atom in the endless expanse of phenomenon is, I firmly believe, completely permitted by all the Buddhas. I will work unceasingly for the benefit of all beings in all 10 directions of space, for as many eons as there are atoms in the world, bringing an end to all the evil paths of sufferings and bringing happiness to all living beings. I will always serve all living beings. In the eons to come, I will follow the conduct of the Bodhisattva Sambhamantatara and attain unsurpassed great awakening, Arihanta. This is cited in the Avamtamsaka Sutra, Daso, Volume 10, Text 293. The Brahma's Net Sutra, Code of the Precepts. This passage gives a set of 10 primary, preliminary, or 48 secondary precepts for the Bodhisattvas. It was developed in China and used by the monatistic as a supplement to their monatistic precepts, also by some pious lay people. This was also used in the case of Korea, though in Japan it came to replace the monatistic code. The 10 major precepts. The Buddha said to the sons of the Buddhas, there are 10 major precepts. Someone who has received these precepts and fails to recite these precepts is not a bodhisattva. He does not possess the seed of Buddhahood. I recite these precepts. All past bodhisattvas have studied them. All future bodhisattvas will study them. All present bodhisattvas study them. The precepts have been taught in this way. This should be studied and observed wholeheartedly. 1. Take in life. The Buddha said, a son of the Buddha does not kill, encourage others to kill, provide others with the means to kill, praise killing, having sympathy for killing, using his supernormal powers to kill, create the causes or conditions for killing, providing ways of killing, or engage in business which involves killing. He is prohibited from intentionally killing any living beings whatsoever. A person should act in order to permanently establish a mind filled with loving kindness and compassion, a mind filled with respect for his parents, and always be looking for ways to rescue all living beings. A person who takes pleasure in killing commits an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. 2. Taking what is not giving. A son of the Buddha does not steal, encourage others to steal, provide others with the means to steal, create the causes or conditions for stealing, provide ways of stealing, or engage in business which involves stealing. He does not conjure up yakshashas or spirits to steal others' property for him. He is prohibited from stealing anything whatsoever which is owned by someone else, even something as insignificant as a needle or a blade of grass. A person should act in order to cultivate a mind filled with compassion, the nature of a Buddha, and always help people to accumulate karmic benefit and happiness. A person who steals the property of others commits an offense of such gravity as that he is defeated. 3, engaging in sexual intercourse. A son of the Buddha does not have sex or encourage others to do so. He is prohibited from having sex with any female being or a male being or an animal whatsoever, from creating the causes or conditions for having sex with a female or a male, or providing ways of having sex, to engage in the business which involves sex. He may not have sex with any male or female animals, male gods or female gods, yakshashas or spirits, or may he not engage in other improper form of sexual activity. A person should act in order to cultivate mind filled with respect for his parents, to save all living beings. He should teach people that the pure Dharma. How could he abandon compassion and encourage people to have sex with male and female animals, even with their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers, or their relations? A person who does this committed an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Number 4, false speech. A son of the Buddha does not speak falsely, encourage others to speak falsely, provide others with the means to speak falsely, create the causes or conditions for false speech, provides ways to speak falsely, or engage in business which involves false speech. He does not say that he has seen something that he has not seen. He does not say that he has seen something that he has not seen. He does not speak falsely in mind or body. A person should always act in order to develop right speech, right view, and encourage all living beings to do the same. How could he encourage living beings to speak falsely, to hold wrong views, or to encourage in wrong conduct? A person who does so commits an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Number 5, dealing in alcohol. A son of a Buddha does not deal in alcohol. Encourage others to deal in alcohol. Create the causes or conditions for dealing in alcohol. Provide ways of dealing in alcohol, or engage in business which involves dealing in alcohol. He is prohibited from dealing in any kind of alcohol. This is because alcohol provides the causes and conditions for unwholesome action. A person should act in order to help all living beings develop the wisdom of clear insight. How could he encourage all living beings to distort their minds? A person who does so commits an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Number 6, discussing the faults of others. The son of a Buddha does not discuss the faults of a renunciant, householders, monks, or nuns. He does not encourage others to discuss their faults. He does not create the causes or the conditions for discussing faults, provides ways of discussing faults, or engage in business that involve discussing faults. If a person hears, if the person hears of a non-Buddhist or a wicked follower of the path of the discipline or the path of the solitary Buddhas, denouncing what they suppose to be a undharmic or unlawful in the Dharma or the Buddha Dharma, he should always develop a mind filled with compassion. Instruct those wicked people in the way that to develop the faith in the Buddha. How could he discuss the supposed faults of the Buddha Dhamma? A person who does so commits the offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Number 7, praising oneself and criticizing others. A son of a Buddha does not praise himself and criticize others. Encourage others to praise themselves and criticize others. Create the conditions or causes for praising oneself and criticizing others. Provide ways of praising oneself and criticizing others. Engage in business which involves praising oneself and criticizing others. A person should take the place of the living beings in enduring their humiliation, taking responsibility for their unwholesome action of others, and giving others the credit of his own wholesome actions. A person who displays his own virtue and conceals others' merits to the extent that others might be criticized commits an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Number 8, meanness. A son of the Buddha is not mean, nor does he encourage others to be mean. Create the causes and conditions for people to be mean. Provide ways of being mean, or engage in business which involves meanness. A person should act in order to provide all poor people who come to him to beg with everything they ask for. How could he refuse to give anything at all, even a penny, a needle, or a blade of grass? How could he fail to teach the Dhamma to those who seek it? even a sentence, a verse, a tiny speck of the Dhamma, but instead insult them and abuse them. A person who does so commits an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Number 9, becoming angry and using violence. A son of a Buddha does not become angry, nor does he engage others to become angry, create the causes or conditions for anger, provide ways of becoming angry, or engage in business which involves becoming angry. A person should act in order to create peace, harmony, wholesome roots amongst people. He should also cultivate a mind filled with compassion. How could he, whether he is surrounded by living beings or not, insult others with abusive words and resort to violence, using his hands or weapons? If he does act in this way, how could he refuse to apologize for his behavior when the offended party asks him to? A person who does so commits an offense of such gravity that he is defeated. Malign the Taratanatai, the 3 jewels. The son of a Buddha does not malign the 3 jewels, nor does he encourage others to malign them, create the causes or conditions for them to be maligned, provide ways of maligning them, or engage in business which involve maligning them. A person should feel like he is being struck by 100 spears if he hears of non-Buddhists or wicked people saying a single defamatory word about the Buddha. How could he malign the 3 jewels themselves, cultivating a mind without faith or respect for his parents? A person who maligns the 3 jewels along with the wicked people with wrong views commits the offense of such gravity that he is defeated. You should study this thoroughly. These are the 10 major precepts which you should study. You should not transgress a single one of them in even the smallest degree, let alone all of them. Finally, the 48 secondary precepts. Now I have explained the 10 major precepts. I will explain the 48 secondary precepts, namely the precepts against failing to honor teachers and friends. Second, drinking alcohol. Third, eating meat. Fourth, eating the 5 kinds of pungent foods. 5, not encouraging people to confess their unwholesome actions. 6, not giving offerings or requesting the Dhamma. 7, not going to hear the Dhamma. Number 8, turning one's back on the dispensation or teaching and taking up the smaller vehicle. Number 9, failing to treat the sick. Number 10, possessing weapons for killing living beings. Number 11, serving as emissary for a country. Number 12, engaging in business of selling. 13, speaking ill of others. 14, starting wildfires. 15, teaching the Dhamma in a distorted way. 16, misrepresenting things for one's own gain. 17, using one's position to acquire more for oneself. 18, teaching things one doesn't understand. 19, speaking with a forked tongue. 20, failing to rescue living beings. 21, taking angry and violent revenge. 22, failing to request the Dhamma out of arrogance and pride. 23, distorting the truth out of arrogance and pride. 24, failing to practice and study the teaching of the Buddha. 25, teaching without understanding one's needs of one's listeners. 26, hoarding things for oneself. 27, accepting special treatment from the laity. 28, giving special treatment to individual members of the Sangha. 29, wrong livelihood. 30, failing to observe the full and the new moon days. 31, failing to save and release living beings. 32, harming living beings. 33. Unwholesome entertainment. 34. Thinking of following the smaller vehicle even for a short time. 35. Failing to wish for what one needs to practice the path. 36. Failing to take vows. 37. Risk difficult journeys. 38. Sitting in improper sequence at gatherings. 39. Failing to cultivate beneficial karmic and wisdom. 40. Failing to confer the precepts on all without biases. 41. Teaching for one's own gain. 42. Conferring to the precepts on evil people. 43. Receiving gifts without a sense of humility. 44. Failing to honor the sutras. 45. Failing to train living beings. 46. Teaching the Dhamma in an improper way. 47. Making rules with conflict with the Dharma. And 48. Destroying the Dharma. This is cited in the Brahma Net Sutra, Fan Weng Ying, Taso, Volume 24, Text 1484, page 1004. Thus ended the perspective on Chapter 7 of Ethics from the Mahayana tradition, as we pick up and move forward to the Vajrayana tradition on ethics, wholesome and unwholesome actions. This is a reading from the common Buddhist text, Guidance and Insight from the Buddha. Chief editor of this compilation, Maha Dr. Dhamma Kosachan.